Hey everybody, Brian here, and I'm going to be doing a deck profile video for you today. And this is the deck I've been working on. Since I got my new rescue team mat here, I figured, this deck runs rescues, so why not use it? Alright, so this is a Pendulum Normalcy, 40 cards. So for starters, we got one copy of Rescue Rabbit, one copy of Rescue Hamster, and can't run Rescue Cat, so 3 copies of Lancer, this is a level 6 dinosaur with a pendulum level of 7, 3 copies of Dragon Horn Hunter, level 6 warrior with a pendulum level of 3, 3 copies of Foucault's Cannon. This is a level 5 with a pendulum of 2. Then we've got 3 copies of Flash Knight, 3 copies of Cabazools, and 3 copies of Sabersaurus. If you are already looking at this and going, wow, that seems like a lot of tribute monsters in the deck, it is. It can get a little cloggy. The deck isn't really finished just in terms of the fact that there's still a lot more support potentially to come out. The cards, both Dragonhorn Hunter and Lancer, have both been pre-release cards, and the next set is looking like it's going to have a pre-release. The one that I saw is level 4 Beast Warrior Fire with a pendulum rank of 2, which if that goes in, it could very easily take the spot of some of the Foucault's Cannons. Still give you a lot of pendulum power and a lot less cloggy hands. Alright, into spells, 2 copies of Heart of the Underdog, Heart of +7 on your draw phase. 3 copies of Heatwave. This makes it so if I play this at the beginning of main phase 1, nothing but normal monsters can be normal or special summoned. So that really leaves your opponent with only the option to set cards, because everybody plays effect monsters and they won't have anything to summon against you. This can be extremely helpful, like against Quilflops. If you open double Heatwave against Quilflops, you can probably game them, actually. 1 copy of Summoner's Art. I actually want to go up to 2 copies of Summoner's Art, I just haven't picked the second one up yet. 2 copies of Dark Factory and Mass Production. 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. 1 copy of Polymerization. 1 copy of Dark Hole. 3 copy, and that does it for spells. We'll go back into those in a second. 3 copies of Reckless Greed. 3 copies of Common Charity, which is essentially Allure of Darkness for vanillas. 1 copy of Solemn Warning, and 1 copy of Bottomless Trap Hole. Okay. And the extra deck. I've got 1 copy of Diamond Direwolf. Diamond Dire can be a lot of fun in this deck because if you've used your Rescue Hamster already, you can just really keep bringing your Rescue Hamster back off Pendulum summonings, and he's a beast, which makes him a target for Diamond Direwolf. You just keep destroying the Pendulum, the Rescue Hamster, and then Pendulum summoning it back with Direwolf. It can be a lot of fun. Just as, one potential combo. 1 copy of Lavable Chain. So if you make an Xyz play into Lavable Chain and detach 1, you can dump any monster into your graveyard. So if you're in need, for example, of a Pendulum 7, let's say you've already got a Pendulum 3 in hand. So, maybe we'll overlay our 2 Sabersaurus here into a Lavable Chain. By using Lavable Chain's effect, we can ditch 1, send it to the graveyard, send that Lancer from our deck to the graveyard, and then we can Dark Factory Mass Production them both back into our hand, which now I can set my Pendulum zones and special summon. Two copies of Evilizor Dolka. Evilizors are just so good in terms of Xyz monsters. If you're using vanillas, Sabersaurus and Kabazools are dinosaurs. They go into Dolka very, very easily. The other option is, of course, the two copies of Evilizor Logia. It really depends there which situation you're dealing with. You know, if you need to negate monster effects more, or you need to negate spell and traps more. One copy of Gemnite Pearl. Gemnite Pearl is a vanilla, so that means that if you have already activated Heat Wave, you can still Xyz summon the Pearl. Pearl will get a 200-point boost for the Dragon Horn Hunter if you have that out. It'll get breakthrough or piercing damage if you have a Lancer in Pendulum Zone, so he can become an absolute beater. One copy of Exciton Knight. Pretty self-explanatory. One copy of 101, also pretty self-explanatory. One copy of number 82, Heartland Drago. So if I have a Pendulum card in my Pendulums, or if I have a Pendulum monster in my Pendulum Zone, that counts as a spell trap on the field. You can't target it for an attack, and I can attack you directly. That can be a game-winning card right there. One copy of Tiras. Doesn't happen a lot that you get into the rank 5s, but occasionally you do if you can overlay Full Cult's Cannon, or if they Stygian Dirge you in Game 2. Also one copy of Volcanosaurus, same reason. Finally, I've got one copy of number 39, Utopia Beyond. This is because it's a 3000 beat stick, rank 6. One copy of Evilizor Solda. You actually can summon Solda in here by overlaying two copies of Lancer, which are dinosaurs. In addition to that, in the side deck for this deck, I also run Rank Up Magic Astral Force, which allows me then to make plays like turning Logia into a Solda if it's already been used up, which just, you know, gets you a little more miles out of your Logias. And then finally, one copy of First of the Dragons. So this is the whole reason we run polymerization. If you have two Pendulum monsters out, so I've got my two Pendulum monsters out. I'm going to set my Pendulum zones here as well. So I've got my Pendulum Zone set with a 2 and a 7. I'm going to go ahead and activate Polymerization to fuse my two monsters here into First of the Dragons. These go to the extra deck, not to the main deck, or to the graveyard, because they're Pendulum monsters. Now, Pendulum Summon. And just like that, you have an awesome monster in First of the Dragons, and you got your materials back. So, yeah, this deck is pretty cool. Still needs a little bit of work, but with more cards coming out, I actually think it can be pretty viable. So, give it a try, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.